Hello there, and welcome back to the Endless Kingdom. I'm your Nom's host, and today on a not-so-critical review, we're going to be doing another follow-up to my Young Justice reviews. The 4th season of the Young Justice cartoon franchise, Young Justice Phantoms. For those of you in the know, and or those of you who've watched my last few reviews, Young Justice Phantoms is the 4th season of a cartoon that started back in 2010 and was cancelled due to poor marketing, but was brought back by DC and later HBO Max. And it's a good thing too, because this cartoon just keeps getting better. Though that is a subjective point of view, but what isn't? Young Justice Phantoms is in many ways the ultra grown-up version of Season 1 of Young Justice, which has no subtitle. Normally I hate subtitles. Once again, in this season, it makes it work. Young Justice Phantoms takes a bit of a twist in terms of the format of the season. Normally, it's the first half of the season focuses on one subject, while the second half focuses on a new subject that is still connected to the first subject. But in this case, Young Justice Phantoms goes through 6 different arcs, each one tied to the young heroes we focused during Season 1. Hence why I said ultra grown up, because effectively, it's been 10 years, both in terms of the show itself and in terms of the war. In fact, the last episode of the 4th arc is said to take place precisely 10 years after the pilot episode of the whole series. Ain't that something? But I'm getting a little off track. As I said, each arc focuses around one of the heroes that form the covert team that exists at the center of Young Justice. First, we have Superboy and Miss Martian. Yes, that's 2 heroes, but they work as one thanks to the romance subplot, which is brought to a head, because their arc deals with them going into Mars so they can get married. I'll let you watch the show to see how that turns out. But let's just say things get rather hectic before they tie the knot. But then again, this is an action cartoon. What does one expect? The second arc deals with Tigress, formerly known as Artemis, and her dealings with leading the covert team, as well as a little plot involving some turncoat/double agents of the Light, main villain group of the entire franchise. Once again, things get hectic, and it's best to see for yourself, because boy does it have some interesting side notes with the supporting characters of Tigress, most notably Batgirl aka Oracle and Orphan aka one of the later Batgirls from the comics, can't remember which. The plotline they go through has all sorts of twists and turns, many of which can be hard to watch, that's for some people, but it all have great payoff. Especially concerning Batgirl and Orphan, while they appeared in prior seasons, were not really that big of a plot focus. That's something this season does rather well, bring obscure characters within the show into focus with their actions as side characters. Which is a great segue for the third arc of Phantoms, which deals with the magician Zatanna and the students she's picked up throughout the show. Their arc deals with a rather powerful villain cropping up, called the Child. Name's not intimidating, but boy is she intimidating. The 4th arc is the Aqualad Arc, or Aquaman as he's known now, aka Calderon. The arc deals with the aquatic heroes of the DC universe, including the original Aquaman, his wife Mira, allies of Calder, including Tempest, Lagoon Boy, Dolphin, and more. Quite the fine showcase. Made even more so by the fact that in this arc, while the original Aquaman tries to settle political trouble with Atlantis, a new threat in the form of Ocean Master and a mysterious stranger with ties to Atlantis' past shows up that escalates the political tension. Politics and cartoons. Some might say they have no place there. I say, good way to showcase it in a digestible form, even if it's highly dramatized. But what can you do? The fifth arc is definitely worthy. You take the extreme on and giving more characterization into the characters the show is obscured. Because the fifth arc centers around Rocket, an African-American female hero from the Milestone comics, which were later melded with the DC comics. Her arc deals with her setting up a committee between the Justice League and the New Gods of New Genesis, which allows good focus on the well-known new god Orion, and quite the angry fellow, which is no surprise since Orion was originally the son of Darkseid, master of Apocalypse, who has appeared sporadically over the course of the show thus far. And then there's the final arc, which is less about the central character and more about tying everything together. Because the focus character technically is Nightwing, youngest to the original team, first sidekick of Batman, and really the one who helps kick things in motion for this last arc. Very important role, but not the central one, because the central one is all the subplots. It's finally coming to a head, because as soon as the first of the 6 arcs ends, we are introduced to plot lines that keep grabbing your attention. From the introduction of the Legion of Superheroes to a mystery involving Superboy, which starts at the end of the first arc and is brought back into full swing at the end of the 3rd arc. In fact, this mystery with Superboy is where Phantoms gets its name. For those of you who don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead a minute. For those of you who don't care, the mystery involves Superboy winding up in the Phantom Zone. Something very familiar to those who know of Superman's lore. Or how did Superboy wind up in the Phantom Zone? When will his friends learn that he's in the Phantom Zone? And how will they get him out of it? It's all quite something to watch. But mystery isn't the only thing this season has going for it. It also has a fair dose of realism, sprinkled here and there throughout the 6 arcs with each member of the original team, but also with Beast Boy, who goes through a bout of depression throughout the season. Depression caused by both the turmoil at the end of Season 3 Outsiders and everything that happened to him during his time on Mars during the first arc. Amazing how realistic they decided to go for that depiction. Some might say too realistic, but I'll leave that for you to decide. Depression, thankfully, only in the background, and indoor subplots to the episodes, so it doesn't take up too much space. Anyway, the last arc of the season, which brings together all the plot points, all ends up with a massive and powerful battle, which thankfully the villains are all defeated in the end. That's actually one of the more interesting things about this season. All the villains are actually given proper and unquestioned defeats. Whereas past seasons, it's the villains, mostly Vandal, Savage, and the White, always manage to gain something even from the claws of defeat. This time, they don't. Those that do who succeed at one point in the season are utterly crushed in a later point. And thankfully, well, the season did do a good job answering most of its questions. It still left a few unanswered questions at the end. Questions which give hints as to what Season 5 will be, if we get a Season 5. There's no solid confirmation on that as of yet. But hey, the ratings have been great for this season thus far, so there's a high chance we'll get one. Only time will tell. But until that time comes, Young Justice Phantoms, with its fine mix of action, family and romance drama, realistic yet easy to digest depictions of real-world issues, and everything else you may want in a hero TV show. It's sure to keep anyone who watches it entertained. But, as I always say, I'm not here to tell you if the show is good or bad. I'm here to state my opinion and throw it let you decide if Young Justice Phantoms is something you'd like to watch. So, if you think Young Justice Season 4 Phantoms strikes your fancy, you can find it for easy streaming on HBO Max, along with the other 3 seasons. And if you enjoyed today's not-so-critical review, you can like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and click the notification bell to stay up to date on all future reviews on this channel. And until the next not-so-critical review, I've been your anonymous host, The Endless Kingdom, and I wish you all a good day.